Hey everybody, welcome back to another episode of the podcast Strikes Back. My name is George and you're listening to the weekly movie show with the boys Connor.
Hello.
And Benny.
Hello there.
Guys, welcome to episode 91 of the weekly movie show. We're getting close to 100 here, so we got to start to figure out what we're going to do. We got to do something big for that.
Hollywood, deliver some big news that week, please.
Yeah, please.
Please.
But guys, thanks for tuning in. We've got a ton of news, trailers, and also a question of the week where we're going to be ranking the DCEU films. That's going to be a little bit of fun, so stay tuned for that. But first, let's catch up on what everyone's been watching. I'm going to jump in first.
Whoa.
Because I think mine is going to segue nicely into yours.
Cool.
And then
Connor
you
can go as well.
I've got nothing.
just
Really going
add
to taper
something.
off at the end. I really should have started with mine so we can go up. But no. You've made this decision. Let's go.
I've watched 6 episodes of Titans.
That's more episodes than you've ever watched of anything, George.
No, bro. I'm going to break down in tears.
Cool.
Dude, I am so into this show.
Are you enjoying it?
I am enjoying it to a level where I'm worried. I'm worried it's all going to fall apart.
This is what I went through. Yeah.
This show absolutely rules. If you're into comic book movies, comic book anything, get on this show.
Especially the DC stuff. If you watch that and you think, I wish there was a little more here.
This is the best Robin, the most interesting Robin I've ever seen.
Hell yeah.
That's not a particularly high bar, is it?
No,
it's not,
but he's actually just a really good one.
he's
as well.
so interesting. And
Yeah.
the way...
I didn't think Brenton Thwaites had it in him.
No. What? Who is he? What
He was
is
in like one of the Pirates movies
Oh,
as like
yeah,
young Orlando
that's right.
Bloom-esque attractive guy.
They have
Was
managed
he his
to...
son in the most recent one?
He was the Orlando
Oh,
Bloom.
Maybe, I don't know.
He was the Orlando Bloom replacement.
Yeah, in the
Yeah, so his
the
son.
one before that one, I think, wasn't it? Anyway, it doesn't matter.
Anyway, listen. This is the most interesting Robin. I'm loving all the characters into this. I love it that how it's getting into all these nooks and crannies, and it seems very pre-established. Like
Yeah.
you're just in this world, and Robin has had this whole relationship with Batman. You don't see Batman a lot. It is so interesting how they handle him. He's super mysterious. I am really just so amped there's a season 2. I hope it keeps up this momentum because I think, I'd have to go back and watch it, but I wonder if I like this more than the Marvel Netflix stuff.
Yeah.
I really am that into it.
I'm a few weeks ahead of you on my journey with this show, and I think I do at this point. Not having watched the high point of the Marvel Netflix stuff for so long, which is pretty much just Daredevil season 1 and maybe Jessica Jones, I think, in a different way. I think this is like my favorite comic book show ever.
And it gets dark, it gets gruesome,
Yeah.
but it's colorful, but there's a lot of character development.
Yep.
They're really interesting. The only character that I'm not that into right now is Beast Boy.
Yep.
We'll see what happens with him.
He's kind of bringing up the rear.
But the other 3
development-wise.
have some really, really interesting stuff in terms of powers and also in terms of actual characters.
Yeah, in particular, after all the controversy, I love Starfire.
Starfire
I think
rules.
I love
She's
the way her
great.
story's presented. She just
Yeah.
wakes up in this weird place and she doesn't know
Yeah.
who she is. I'm so happy to hear that you're digging it as much as I was. That's my sentiment exactly. I'm just so happy there's a season 2 so that even after that rough start with the marketing, they can continue to flesh this out.
Yeah.
Because I love what they are doing.
You go.
Just like nobody is following this show.
No, nobody's
like,
talking
AV Club's
about
not
it.
even reviewing it. I'm like,
Nobody's talking about
it. Really
it.
slipped under the radar. But now that it's on Netflix in Australia here, I actually have heard a few people checking it out, and I'm really
Okay.
encouraged by that.
A couple things just quickly to shout out about this. The director of the first 2 episodes is Brad Anderson, who did The Machinist.
Cool.
From
Good get.
that Christian Bale movie from
Yeah.
the early noughties. Very, very cool director. He's done a ton of TV, but I think he's established a really great sensibility for this show.
It's a good looking show.
And Clint Mansell composing this. Darren Aronofsky's guy. He also did Moon. Like
Requiem for a Dream, that track that everyone knows, that amazing music.
Clint Mansell has done an incredible
He is-
job with the score on this.
Yeah.
He's kind of one of those guys that when you see a really awesome theme or something that you're like, oh, fuck yeah, like, I want to know who that's by, it's almost always Clint
See his
Mansell.
name there, yeah.
Yeah.
He has done a killer job in this. So I really can't fault this show. I am so in love with it.
That's awesome. I was actually a little worried coming into this episode because I figured you would have checked it out
Yeah.
by now and you hadn't texted me or anything. I'm like,
I'm
he's
like-
watched 40 minutes and he's angry at me now.
I'm just waiting. Benny, I've watched 6 episodes of a show.
Oh, I'm so proud of you, boy.
And then also we've got Glass coming up. So I decided to watch Unbreakable and Split.
Cool.
Been a while since I watched Unbreakable, but you
Does
know,
it hold up?
it's slow. Like,
Very.
but for me, it works perfectly. Like, it executes the vision perfectly. But for some people these days, it might be a little too meandering. It's quite dour. Like, none of the characters are joyful. It's very, it's very serious. It's in its tone, but it is ahead of its time. Like deconstructing the idea of Superman, comic book movies.
Came out the same year as X-Men.
This is 2000.
And the very first shot of the very first frame of the movie is that thing pretty much just saying how important comic books are.
how many are sold every year.
He saw the future, man. He's like,
He
start
seriously
respecting
did.
comic books.
He
It's
seriously
insane.
did.
Yeah,
I think this movie has gotten better with age, and it is like watching a comic panel. Like, he holds shots for a really long time, and they have things in the foreground, things in the background. He moves the camera around in really interesting ways, spinning it 360. Really, just I think this is an absolute classic.
If you haven't checked it out, check it out, keeping in mind that it's a movie from 20 years ago.
Yes,
Like George said, it's very slow in a lot of ways.
really slow. Like,
Don't expect any huge action sequences or anything. And the ending has turned a lot of people off. No spoilers, but it is in a lot of ways some old bullshit in execution more than what's actually happening in it. But
M. Night almost did himself a disservice by having to have a twist in every movie.
it's not even about.
feels-
I don't even think it's about a twist necessarily, whether or not you consider there to be one. It's just literally just the filmmaking's really weird. The way it ends.
Oh, okay.
I don't know if you remember, but a lot of people are just like, what?
I kind of like it. It's sort of
It doesn't bother
It
me.
works for me.
It doesn't bother me too much, but it does feel like they maybe forgot to shoot a last scene or something. Anyway, yeah. And Split, you
and
watched
then
as well?
Split. Also watched Split. I think this is a really robust, tight thriller, and it really rests on James McAvoy's shoulders. He is absolutely phenomenal in this, and I am really excited to see him again in Glass. What I will say about Split is it kind of leans into the gimmick so much that, other than that performance, I really do like Anya Taylor-Joy in it. I think she gives a very good counter to James McAvoy, less animated, more understated, vulnerable role, but just doesn't quite come together to the same level that Unbreakable does for whatever reason. But as a tight, robust thriller, this is a killer watch.
So are you saying that you think that they lent too much into the gimmick?
Maybe. I'm not. I just very comparing these. I watched these literally over 2 nights, and I very much kind of wanted to watch them as a trilogy, and they're quite different from each other. And I guess I was sort of ranking them.
Yeah.
And I prefer Unbreakable, but Split is an amazing film. I really had an amazing time.
It was like $9 million as well, or something insane.
I think that's got to be one of
crazy.
the things that I really like about this is that they aren't sequels in the sense that they are similar films or tonally the same. I'm saying this based off what other people have seen of Unbreakable because I haven't seen it yet. But I kind of like that that it's very different and that it's going for a
too.
different tone and feel.
Me too.
So it's interesting to hear you talk about watching them as a trilogy.
Yeah.
Which seems almost counterintuitive.
It really does. It really does. And I think I anticipate Glass almost feels like Split 2. And then
That's what it looks like.
And then Unbreakable is kind of its own thing, and they are encompassing pieces, but
Having seen Glass, I won't say too much, but it feels less like Split 2 and more like Split Into. Like, it's a sequel to both of those films in pretty much equal measure. And
Interesting.
I don't know if it works, but we'll have a review on that movie in the near future.
yeah, so you went to a preview screening, Benny?
Yep.
We couldn't
It's
join
not
you,
sitting very high
unfortunately.
on Rotten Tomatoes or anything
It's
like that,
it's very divisive. Some people are really liking it. Some people are not liking it.
Are they?
Yeah, they are. They are.
Yeah, okay, cool. I don't think financially it's going to do well.
Unlikely.
Love it or hate it, yeah. Unfortunately, hopefully it was about as cheap as Split was.
20 million.
That's good. That's
That's good.
That's
So
good.
you didn't enjoy it?
Good for it. I don't want to reveal my feelings
okay.
just yet because I don't want to color your perceptions. But
Yeah.
Too late.
well, absolutely worth the watch if you've seen both of the other two films, definitely, because it's a very unique creation. in its own right.
I'm pumped.
I'll just agree with you that having watched Unbreakable and Split very recently, Unbreakable is I think it has higher highs and lower lows than Split. I think Split's a little more consistent throughout because Unbreakable has that whole thread about comic books being, the modern Bible or some weird shit.
I love that.
It's very odd. Like if you don't buy that,
M. Night really hits you over the head with some of his themes. Like he's not very eloquent.
No,
but if you go along for the ride, it's actually a really cool. It's very enjoyable.
Sam Jackson does his absolute goddamn best to sell it, and I think he mostly makes it. So if you don't buy into that premise, a lot of that movie's not going to work for you. But if you go along with it,
a lot of the movie, and I watched it with Ash, and she really, I was like, you just have to, like, there was a lot of things. She's like, why wouldn't he know that? Why this is, and it's very allegorical, metaphorical in a way.
Yeah, it was all like Signs. If you want to pick it the hell apart, you can.
Yeah.
But you'll have a better time if you don't.
Yeah, just
I think that's Shyamalan in general.
That was kind of it. That's just a mark of something that's fairly thinly veiled, essentially. Like
it depends what a movie's trying to do. Like, it depends on the goals ultimately.
Yeah.
It's very thematic, I feel. I think it's very conceptual. It's not like a plot-based film. It's trying to it's trying to open the layers of an onion of a Superman.
Where do you kind of rate M. Night in your general rankings of directors? Like, is he kind of on that? He's one of the more famous ones, but is he on that kind of upper echelon with Spielberg and?
Well, remember there was a
the rest of
time,
them?
I think it was just after
Tarantino.
Sixth Sense when it was like, this guy's the next Spielberg.
Yeah.
And then Unbreakable came out.
Well,
and
very,
like, this
very
guy's not
specifically
the
after Sixth
Spielberg.
Sense,
Yeah.
and he's been chasing that high basically ever since, which I don't think he's ever really come even close to coming to hitting.
I think he's an absolute master craftsman, but like he has more glaring weaknesses than most directors. But he's got a much more interesting voice than so many of the kind of
I think
bland.
so.
I think that's one of the problems with.
He's not too, absolutely.
Yeah.
Like you can string all his films together easily.
I think that's one of the problems with the I guess just the job of director is that, if you shoot beautiful films, then you're probably better suited to being a cinematographer than you are a director. And so, being
He's such an
certain
interesting writer, though. Like,
yeah,
for good or ill.
I guess what I'm saying is that if you have a weakness in one area as a director, it becomes somewhat glaring because a director is this kind of impossible role where you have to be at the very least proficient in any number of areas, if not excellent in all of them. And most of all, being able to juggle and organize all that. And I think that's what trips up people like Michael Bay, who is beyond proficient in certain areas, but really lacking in others. And I think that shows with M. Night as well, where he is really good in certain areas, but really kind of lackluster in others.
Yeah, what's your take on him, Connor?
I usually think of him as a relatively middling director. I think that he's plagued by early success, and I think he's also plagued by expectation. I think he set himself up as a kind of he's dug himself a hole where you go into an M. Night Shyamalan movie and you expect something, a certain level of quality and a certain kind of thematic device that will never really live up to his first big success.
Yeah. I just always respect somebody who's able to carve out a niche and a brand, and he's really been able to do that. Whenever M. Night has a new movie coming out, everyone's talking.
And they still slap his name on it, which
They
is
do.
amazing for someone who's had the lows that he's had. Like they still say, like around
They
After
didn't
Earth,
for After
they
Earth,
hit
yeah.
his name very well, and I think I think
After
that was
Earth
probably
is-
his nadir. I didn't see the whole film.
Why? Don't bring that up, man.
But, yeah,
I think a lot of people were really harsh on that film.
I
It was-
hate-
Oh god, listen, no.
I
Why
would
did you hate it?
I would rather watch The Happening
no,
three
that's
times
silly.
over
I'm sorry.
than watch
That is
After Earth.
utterly
No.
silly.
Yeah, I don't want to get into like an argument over this. I love The Happening. I think that is such an enjoyable film. I don't want to get into a discussion of whether it was intentional or not, because a lot of people claim that he was trying to make a great B movie, and I think it absolutely is.
Yeah.
A
I
gold
could buy
class
that.
B movie. Like it is the most well made B movie ever, and it is hilarious. And it is, I don't understand how people can watch that movie and not have a great time laughing at it, laughing with it, whatever. But I was actually going to say before, if you haven't seen The Happening, don't believe the hype. Give it a go. I think you'll have a great time.
Well, no, believe the hype because it is bad.
No, totally, but not in the way that it's just like an unwatchable piece of garbage like Justice League. Like I think it's a great time. I think it's a really fun time.
It's a good one to just like get a group of buddies over
That's
and whack
that's
on
one
it
of
and
those
have a
movies
laugh.
that's so bad that it's enjoyable to watch. I'll give you that.
Yeah,
But
totally.
it's like
But there is he does bring a level of sophistication to all of his works.
Absolutely.
Whether he
Like,
nails
I
it or
mean-
not is another question.
There are some amazing shots in The Happening, even.
Like even in the Last Airbender, there's some really cool steampunk boats
there's some
and
gorgeous
there's
stuff
some
in that.
really great stuff. But yeah,
we should rank all the M. Night films.
We should
That'd
rank-
be fascinating.
I reckon we should rank every movie that's
Ever.
ever
Ever had. Yeah,
Yeah,
let's
yeah,
actually
yeah.
let's just do it.
one
Seen
to
it or not.
1,000, the
Yeah.
top 1,000.
That was a very long segue from your list to mine, but it was there. It worked. So I saw obviously those movies we just mentioned. I also forgot to mention this last week or the week before. I saw it a while ago. But Yorgos Lanthimos' new film, The Favourite, with Emma Stone and Rachel Weisz. This is one of the kind of big award season contenders. From the director of Killing of a Sacred Deer and The Lobster. Killing of a Sacred Deer, have either of you seen that?
No.
With Colin Farrell. That movie was a fucking weird watch, kind of unpleasant as well, but it's really stuck with me. I think you should check it out, George, because it's not a horror movie, but it's a disturbing film.
I heard
with,
The Lobster had some very strange oddities in it.
Yeah, I didn't like The Lobster very much.
Okay.
I came to that very late after a lot of people had kind of raved about it, and I'm like,
Yeah.
this is
Killing of
kinda
the Sacred
boring.
Deer is the good-looking kid, right?
Damn you! You trapped me. The kid from American Animals. You will never.
The one that really freaks Ben out.
Yeah, you will never see someone eating a plate of spaghetti the same way again after watching Killing of a Sacred Deer.
I don't know if I want to watch it now.
The Favourite, however, is definitely his most accessible film. Extremely funny, kind of heart-rendingly tragic in a lot of ways as well, based on a true story about Queen Anne. And apparently, in a lot of ways, despite being kind of farcical, more accurate to history than generally these period pieces are, because a lot of them are quite sanitized. This movie starts with Emma Stone in a carriage with some random guy across her just jerking off, then she gets pushed into a pile of shit.
Hell yeah.
Yeah, it's so well worth a watch. I also checked out Spring because I've been on just searching for even more obscure horror movies. This one's from 2014, I think. Didn't turn out to be a horror movie at all. Starred Lute Lapucci, who you've probably seen in something or other over the years. I won't talk about this for long because it's a very obscure one, but it's kind of like a romance monster movie. Very strange, quite profound, really beautiful, highly recommended.
Interesting.
And that's it for me this week. No, it isn't. I've lied. Twist ending.
M. Night.
That was completely an accident. Sorry. I also watched the new Superman animated film.
Yes.
Reign of the Superman. I watched it in the cinema as a double, Death of Superman and Reign of the Superman. As to whether it's any good or not, you really have to watch these things in a certain context. They are cartoon movies direct to DVD. If you're expecting, something like the MCU, you're not going to get it. But that being said, I liked the first one, not having seen it before, but the effect of the double overall, I was pretty blown away. I absolutely loved it. And it just made me just wish to God that they had got a functioning DC universe to tell this story in. Because what we got of that Death of Superman storyline was just utterly pathetic. The first half was bad. The second half was, there's no words for it. The way it's told in this is just a perfect blueprint for one huge Justice League movie that would have blown everyone away, I think.
Yeah.
Cool.
Yeah. It's a damn shame.
Sounds dope. Good animation.
There are moments of better than expected animation because it sets the bar kind of low for most of it.
Sure.
Also, Lex Luthor is played by Rainn Wilson from The Office. He is fantastic. He's such a sassy Lex Luthor. He is the star of the show, and it makes me wish that they could just do these characters justice in a way that people will actually see them.
Oh well, we'll see. See if it ever happens.
All right, so I only watched two things this week. One was the new Brooklyn Nine-Nine episode that's just come out for season 7, I think, or 6.
This is after the network change, right?
Dropped.
Yeah, so it comes up with a big NBC, or I'm pretty sure it's NBC. Look, I mean, it's hard to kind of give commentary on a half-an-hour Brooklyn Nine-Nine show. If you enjoy Brooklyn Nine-Nine, you will enjoy this episode. It's one of the few shows that I will actively watch every week. as it comes out. Yeah, I love the twists and turns that this TV show takes while still remaining kind of true to its original form and kind of format. It's all the same characters. I highly recommend it if you enjoy the previous 5 seasons. Do either of you watch Brooklyn Nine-Nine?
I've watched a few, yeah. Enjoyable.
Yeah. You can just say no. That's fine.
I dropped off midway through season 2, probably for the least reason I've ever had for dropping off a show, which is no reason at all. I loved it when it started.
I've probably seen about 10 episodes.
That is one of the things that has happened to me before as well, and I can never explain to you why. It's just I just stopped watching something.
Yeah, I don't think the quality
never
dipped or
started.
anything. Yeah.
There's so many different pieces of content out there.
Oh god,
That's what it is.
everywhere. Yeah, but I find like Brooklyn Nine-Nine is a really easily digestible piece of content. It's
23 minutes, boom.
Yeah, it's one of the only 30-minute pieces of content that I will watch in general. It's that, Rick and Morty, and God, there's maybe a couple of other ones that I'll watch that are about half an hour long. But
You watch BoJack? Is BoJack one of them?
BoJack, yeah.
Yeah. Let's just sit here and pick which ones you watch.
But BoJack, I wouldn't call BoJack easily digestible at all.
No.
Not even by a long shot. So yeah, that, and I off the back of both of you having watched this, or at least parts of this, I was morbidly curious, and I went back and I watched Justice League. And I sent you guys the snap of that.
Yeah, that's right.
It was just morbid curiosity after
I
both
wanted
of you
to. You
talked about it.
you sent this to us, and I wanted to be like, "No, Connor, no, what are you doing? I didn't actually watch it. I was watching a commentary of it."
And I was like, hey, closer, closer.
This movie I found to be not as bad as I remember, only in that I only paid attention to about half of it. I was so utterly disinterested in moments, and the moments that kept my attention were the ones that were so mind-bogglingly bad that I don't know. This like it just it wasn't as boring as the first one.
I'm just picturing you out in the backyard tossing a football around, being like, "Oh fuck, I'm watching a movie."
Yeah, just forgetting and like wandering
off,
back in, like, "Fuck, shit, right."
Yeah, I was on my laptop, mind wandering.
Yeah,
totally.
This movie is a
It's background
testament
music.
to everything that can go wrong when you have too much budget and not enough imagination. I mean, the Ben Affleck as Batman in this is so unbelievably bad, and one of the things that
he doesn't give a shit.
One of the things that really pissed me off was that there's some notable scenes from BVS that are really cool, particularly with his choreography. That warehouse scene where he's just tossing people around, I thought was very cool. And to have that then have it turn into what the choreography in this was in Justice League just felt so disappointing, I suppose.
We'll do the rankings later, but I'll just say everything. Like, we thought that BVS was as bad as it could get. Everything interesting about that movie, though, was flattened out into something much worse, I think.
Yeah, it's just incredible. And then, as always, and it's almost overhyped, is just how bad Cavill's mouth mustache gate thing was.
Legendary.
I think that those opening scenes with Superman and then Batman, it really takes the cake for me.
Yeah.
As some of the worst shit I've ever seen.
Set your expectations pretty correctly for the film.
Yeah.
It seriously does. I can't. It's one of those decisions that I cannot fathom who looked at that and was like, yep.
Well done,
Ship.
Joss. Hit Prince.
Burn it all.
Hit Prince. Well, with that, let's get into the news. We got some stuff that's dropped today, the 15th of January.
Yep, hot off the press. First up, Christopher McQuarrie has closed a deal to direct back-to-back Mission Impossible films, the 7th and 8th in the franchise. Now, he directed the last 2 as well.
Yeah.
Both very well received.
And number 6 hit the top 10 of 2018 in terms of box office haul.
Yeah.
So this makes complete sense.
Yeah.
I think before we get into the choice to have him do the next 2 ones, can we just ask the question of, do either of you want another Mission Impossible film? Is there any desire or interest?
I never have. I've enjoyed the last 4, 3, 3, and none of them have made me want to watch another one somehow. I don't know. Like we did our top 10 at the end of last year, and I completely forgot the movie existed. For God's sake.
No, I really like these.
Me too. That's the problem.
I'm not hankering for it as per se, but the last one, Fallout, was, I think, a really impressive, very sophisticated action movie. The cinematography was beautiful in that.
Yeah.
That's probably the best.
I would agree with everything you said, apart from sophisticated.
I think what they did well in that was there was a reason behind every action set piece. I felt like there was. I mean, it got extremely convoluted in the plotting.
The reason for it was that they wanted to do some action.
Sometimes a movie can put in an action scene, and it's like there's actually, like, I think even Aquaman did this. It's like, what are we doing here? Like, I felt like Mission Impossible Fallout, it all sort of followed on in terms of a plot, and it wasn't there for just, let's get Tom Cruise doing something crazy. There was always a reason, which made it feel more complete.
I will strongly disagree with that in the sense that final helicopter scene was so utterly and completely contrived. I mean, that's not...
I thought that was dope.
That's not sophisticated at all.
I thought the camera work on the... that's very subjective.
It is. I think
the camera work on the way...
the last part of the helicopter scene.
I can't even remember.
Like the crash onwards was just bad. I mean, the whole thing is so kind of out there either way. But that last part, I don't know why that just pushed me over the edge. That for me was
I mean, you're wrong, so
Are you trying to pull my own?
Yeah. He's like, what do I do now?
Using my words against me.
I'm not.
Damn it, he has a comeback for it. Damn it. Why didn't you think of that, George?
He's like,
that was close.
It's a towel.
It was 7 return.
But in terms of him directing this, I almost kind of want something. If they're going to do another Mission Impossible, I'd like to see something a little bit different, I suppose.
That's probably the most interesting thing about the first 4 is having a different director on each one. Yeah. They each had a different flavor, for better or worse.
They got the recipe now, man.
It feels like that.
Now the McQuarrie ones, will outnumber the other ones.
Yeah.
And he obviously has a great working relationship with Tom Cruise. Tom Cruise is the man spearheading this franchise.
Tom Cruise wants to kill himself on film, and Chris is like, fucking go for it, brother.
Christopher, you're doing a bang-up job.
They've worked together before on Jack Reacher.
Yes.
Which, I mean, although he's only directed 4 films. To my knowledge, it's just...
He came up writing, didn't he?
I guess the most interesting thing...
He's written quite a few films, and some good ones to boot. But apart from the 2 Mission Impossible ones, it's Jack Reacher and The Way of the Gun.
I think the most interesting thing to me about this is the production schedule, and they're shooting these films both back to back. We haven't seen this in a while. This was very in vogue 10, 15 years ago. Lord of the Rings, the Matrix sequels, both shot at the same time.
Pirates.
This was a trend that a lot of people did. I feel like that hasn't
Infinity
been around.
War.
That's very true. I guess that that's a little bit different.
Justice League was meant to until I think
it has... There's a very specific situation in which that is relevant to do it back to back.
Well, yeah, and that's what makes me interested about this is why they're doing that. There's obviously a narrative reason.
Yeah.
And these probably will come out within 6 months to a year.
Tom Cruise is falling apart. And,
and they really need to get this done.
Him on film, yeah.
I always found that that the Mission Impossible narratives were one of the weaker parts of this franchise, particularly in the sense of, they're repetitive and kind of nonsensical and just...
I've only seen 3 onwards, Sumi, but isn't the plot of all of them just there's a guy and he has a bomb or something?
Yep.
Yeah.
I mean, that's what really shocked me about this one was this is like almost word for word what happened in the previous one. Like
your mission, should you choose to accept it, is the same as last time.
Yeah, someone's stolen some nuclear bombs. Go save the world.
Like, I mean, yeah, it's
really?
Good, good to have a specialty,
Is there nothing kind of that you could think of that
that's
might...
I like that about number 3 because it sort of subverted that, where the MacGuffin was the rabbit's foot, and you spoilers never found out why they were after it. It wasn't about the.
I've seen the movie, and that is a spoiler for me because I don't remember anything about it.
Oh, really? Sorry.
No, it's fine.
But yeah,
I'm not watching it again.
That's what I mean. Like, it was good that it was a different.
I think number 3 is the best one purely because of Philip Seymour Hoffman. I think he is rad in that movie.
Yeah.
What's your favorite?
Ooh. Might be the third one. I don't know. To be honest, I'm kind of like you, Ben. I forget a lot of the earlier ones. I really don't care about Mission Impossible, to be honest. I mean,
Yeah, I'm kind of the same. Four was definitely the high point for me.
I hated 4.
Yeah, it's never recaptured that in my eyes.
Yeah.
Should we move on
Yeah.
Yeah, sure.
to brighter news?
Good luck to them. Number 2, big one. Aquaman has officially passed $1 billion at the worldwide box office. It's the first DC film to do so since The Dark Knight Rises in 2012.
And it's overtaken The Dark Knight.
It's overtaken The Dark Knight. It's sitting right in between that and The Dark Knight Rises, which are both just over $1 billion. I don't know if
Do
it's
you think
overtaken
that
that
this
just yet, but
has more momentum in it?
Yes.
yeah.
What are we thinking? Like, are we thinking $1.5 billion?
$3 billion. I think it's going to be the highest grossing film of all time.
Billion?
Yeah.
20 million.
20 millions more. That's all it's got.
I reckon 1.3.
Yeah, I mean, it hasn't even been out that long, all considered. The thing with this is it's actually I think it's the 4th highest grossing film in the DCEU in the US. Think about that.
Okay,
all of this
domestically,
movie's
yeah.
money was international. Because
Right.
they opened it up early in China, like very early, and I think we're gonna see a lot more of that now after this.
Yeah.
Because the headlines they're able to tell with this story so shortly after its US release are phenomenal.
This is crazy, man. I can't believe
What world are we living
Aquaman-
in?
So do we think that the DCEU is saved? I say in air quotes for
I think
those
they're more
listening on the
fucked than
podcast.
ever.
Yeah.
They're like, what do we do now? How did we do
Everyone's
this?
sending the James Wan to grab
Yeah.
the neck. What are we doing, son of a
What have you done? What have you done?
They can't have done this more backwards if they had set out, if they'd got Kevin Feige to come in and be like, can you do a reverse DCEU for us? Like, it's mind-boggling.
I'm really happy that there is some kind of course correction. I want them to nail it with Shazam, and I hope that we can, just kind of get a couple more under the belt. There's going to be a few mishaps along the way, no doubt, but it's the DC fucking EU. But maybe we're on something cool here, because I still really have a good. I'm looking forward to seeing Aquaman again, because I have a lot of goodwill towards that film.
Do you think that the next Wonder Woman will live up to? I guess this will only add to the hype of Wonder Woman. Do you think that will?
I'm
perform
very
well, or-
interested about this because I don't think so. Because it's no secret that I don't think the first one's any good.
Well, you and me are very much on the same page with Wonder Woman.
So I think if the second one is the same quality as the first one, people will be like,
You guys change every week.
"Oh,
No,
we-
on that
we're
one.
pretty.
no."
we're
I mean,
pretty-
yes, I do. I get worse and worse on Wonder Woman. Just wait till we rank
Yeah,
our
see, at
movies.
least
at the-
he-
Have
It
we,
is
have we,
honest with
have we
his
ever
films
been
themselves.
anything but skeptical of Wonder Woman?
I'm
You can go back to the review. I mean, I got a lot of flack for my
not
80%
sure,
or whatever.
You're,
Just
you're a
not
visionary, Connor. We both are. So I think the second one has a real tough road ahead of it.
Yeah.
Being like, I feel it's going to be silly, and I hate that they're bringing back Steve Trevor. I don't know how any of it's going to work. What
I
was
didn't even
the-
know that they were. Are they're doing that?
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
Oh, that's not good.
yeah. I don't know how that's going to work.
No.
It's just it's how are they going to fit that into the universe they've already set up, where Wonder Woman had like one big thing and then disappeared for 100 years.
You see, I don't get it.
It's
And
like,
I mean, the whole,
wait, no, I did have that one jaunt in the 80s.
Yeah,
where
and the
my
whole-
dead lover came back to life.
the whole the whole plot of Justice League, which unfortunately, as I said, I just watched, was that she had hidden herself away, and it was about her being able to be a hero again. You're dead on that. Like, I mean, how do they then fit something into that 100-year span or so? It's not well thought out.
But good luck to them, because yes, I like that DC finally has a hit on their hands. It beat the shit out of a bunch of MCU ones. I can't remember the specific
easily,
list, but yeah, which is like very impressive for Aquaman.
Imagine if Captain Marvel bombs and everyone's like, the DCEU, mate.
It's time for this now. Yeah.
I mean, I don't think Marvel is really sweating too much this year. I mean, they've got the Avengers 5 coming out, so they don't, or Force or whatever the fuck it is.
Avengers
They don't give a
9.
shit.
It's
Yeah,
mine,
I mean,
yeah.
like they're Endgame is gonna perform well no matter what, so they're laughing. And if they go out on that high of Endgame, fuck it, Feige can just hang up his boots and be like, I've done what I need to do.
So DC
Fuck
from
it.
this point is going to have to start being as adaptive as Marvel has been with their properties in terms of responding to or using what people respond to and kind of leading with that. Which means that we're looking at a future of the DC where, I don't know, Aquaman's going to be the leader of the Justice League or some shit.
Yes.
What's going to happen now? Like, I'm thinking 15 years from now in the comics, the landscape's going to be completely different. Because if they change their comics like Marvel does based on the movies, like Momoa is going to become the new template for that character.
Yes.
Yeah.
And Shazam, it'll be Aquaman, Shazam, and Wonder Woman, head of the Justice League.
the big three, yeah. Wow.
And Superman's like, who the fuck is that?
The Trinity that stood for
Crazy,
for
isn't it?
fucking
But I mean,
70
this
years.
is-
I celebrate this because I'm glad we're not seeing Superman. The world obviously is calling for some different characters
And
to
that
be
It would have
shown.
been nice if we could have gotten one good Superman movie.
But that's the most bizarre thing
No.
out of this at all, because I mean, we have been saying this, and people out there have been saying this pretty consistently. Marvel got it right in the way that they approach it. It was bizarre, but the way that they approached this whole universe, they had it right. They took characters that weren't really beloved, and they molded them into their own. They made it what they needed it to be, and I mean, the DCEU decided to take
Iron
that
Man
strategy.
is sorry to interrupt. Iron Man is the classic example.
I
Who the
mean,
fuck
exactly.
was Iron Man prior to
Iron Man-
C-list
2008?
at best.
Thor?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, who the
Captain
fuck
America.
got
You're 100%
Thor to be a
correct,
major
man.
thing?
And DC comes in, it's like, whatever, we got Batman, Superman.
Yeah.
We're all over this. And
So
everyone's
they
like,
they
nah,
took their
we're
two
going to go back to
biggest-
Thor, thank you.
Yeah.
$600 million later.
They took their
Wow.
two biggest properties, put a shit ton of darkness into that series, and thought, yeah, this is a recipe for a whole bunch of cashola, and it fucked up, and they should have known that was going to fuck up. And look, the first movie that's come out that's a little bit more cheery and has a character that's very much B or C list, or hell, Aquaman's is the butt of every joke in the DCEU, and this is their first real major hit. I mean,
Guys, my man.
I'm mad.
Go
Yeah, I don't
Momoa.
know. It just
I'm happy. I think this is great news.
It's
And I hope to see more good stuff.
good. It's
Yeah.
crazy. It's good.
I hope James Wan stays around as well.
Number 3, more news. John Lasseter is to lead Skydance Animation after being booted by Disney.
Quite big news this week on a number of levels.
Yeah, time was up last year. Apparently not anymore.
so I asked this because when this story broke, my question to you guys in our little group chat was trying to remember what John Lasseter was ousted for, because
Yeah, so for anyone
my
who's,
memory
who's
is that
not,
it was hugging.
so for anyone who's not caught up, John Lasseter got caught up in the whole misconduct stuff going on last year. There were a lot of allegations against him, ranging hugely in severity, and Disney was pretty quick to put him on a sabbatical, paid. And then news came out later that he would not be returning to his position at the end of that. And now already he's lined up to another huge job.
And for those who don't know, Skydance is very closely related to Paramount. Dave Ellison, I didn't realize how young this guy was. He's 36.
Nice.
So they've been going since about 2006, I believe. And they are big hands in the Mission Impossible series and a number of other Paramount productions. But I think this is a really, really bad move on their behalf. And
It's ridiculous.
Just in like a PR way, or
Well,
a
here's the
genuine kind of
interesting part
like
is-
moral or ethical way. Like, what do you?
So this Variety article that I linked you guys titled Skydance consulted Time's Up before John Lasseter hire. So Time's Up was put together by Reese Witherspoon and a number of other actresses, which is basically like a consultancy company, I believe, trying to,
I think trying to weed out.
basically.
the kind of
Bring equality to and try
Yeah.
and weed out this kind of Harvey Weinsteins of the world. And they said, let me get this quote up. Sorry, give me a moment. Almost there. Oh, man.
While you look for that, I can summarize generally what has happened, which is that that Time's Up ultimately said that they weren't super happy with the transparency of the investigation that was done into John Lasseter, but that they effectively didn't say no to him being hired by Skydance. which has caused the backlash on this has been weird in a number of ways. Part of the backlash has been against Time's Up, who people feel should have done more to prevent him being hired in this kind of position of power again.
Well, they've only got so much power,
I mean,
I
if
think
this is the
maybe they should have been more
exact
outspoken
kind of thing that they presumably were created to consult on.
Well, they've got a quote here. So Time's
All
Up criticized the move and called the decision to bring Lasseter on board one that endorses and perpetuates a broken system that allows powerful men to act without consequence at a moment when we should be uplifting the many talented voices who are constantly underrepresented. Skydance Media is providing another position of power, prominence, and privilege to a man who has repeatedly been accused of sexual harassment in the workplace. I mean, that pretty much says it in a nutshell.
Yeah, it's mind-boggling to me. And yeah, Connor, just from a PR standpoint, that they would jump into this right now. Like Lasseter, like he's behind a lot of great films to some extent. Pixar, I always got the impression, was very, by committee. Like there's a lot of people working on all those things. Who was like, we need this guy, this voice specifically to come into our company? That's madness.
And I don't think just a PR move in terms of audience. I'm not, as an audience member, I choose not to go to see Skydance. There's another whole level to this where, here's a quote, Skydance employees have also expressed frustration with and concern over Lasseter's hire. In a town hall meeting, which is like an internal meeting for them, on Wednesday, staffers grilled Ellison, the CEO or head of Skydance, about his decision to employ Lasseter and expressed worries that top talent would be scared off from working with the studio because of his reputation.
100%. And Paramount, their distributor, is also apparently not comfortable with this move. So I don't see how do they think this would benefit them?
I have no
They can't make
idea.
great movies if everyone fucking quits.
So then at the meeting, an emotional Ellison asked employees to give Lasseter time to prove that he had reformed and learned from his mistakes.
So there's a fine line that we always kind of walk here where we obviously want to be a movie podcast and talk about entertainment and stuff, but this is and try and stay away from too much of the political aspect. But this is something that's obviously, rife through the kind of the Hollywood and the movie industry. So it's not surprising that we'll have to kind of discuss it a bit. On a personal level, do you care that Lasseter is being hired by Skydance?
I mean, he has gross shirts, and that offends me.
It's terrible, yeah. I don't need to see more photos.
I just, in a core level, I'm just not that into the decision. I just think it's poor strategy on a number of levels, from a company, from a PR point, and also fuck Lasseter. I don't know. I don't know much about the guy, but I've seen a few videos of him, and he always seems just really gross and weird. And this was before, and I will say this was before all this stuff happened. There was this video of him doing his morning workout, and he's on his treadmill, and he's the size of a house, and it was a really weird video, and I don't know, he just made my kind of skin crawl a little bit.
Yeah, and the stories that have come out since that, of which are multiple, very much in the vein of, you hear about all these kind of whispers that happen in this industry, things people know about, but they feel there's nothing they can really do about them. I hear about Australian talent now and then. You just hear these kind of things from these powerful people in these positions, and it's so off-putting, it's so gross.
Are you saying that was something that was going on about Lasseter?
Yeah, there's a lot of just rumors essentially, but the whole smoke and fire thing. And the main point of offense for me was Ellison's statement that he released when this first started blowing up, which one line in it where he says, "While we would never minimize anyone's subjective views on behavior," that is minimizing people's views on behavior. He's pretty much saying to anyone who feels they've been victimized by him, you say it, we think differently. I think that's a really fucked up just wording in that statement.
I think that it's such a, there's such a range of offenses that you can commit in that level. And you can do things very kind of methodically and systematically, and there are people in those positions that I think did things that they probably didn't think about or that they wouldn't have recognized were bad. And I think that there's opportunities for teachable moments in all this. And I think that we have to be, I guess, a bit nuanced on where we choose to draw a line.
Completely agree. Giving the man a multi-million-dollar paying job is not a teachable moment.
Well, I mean,
that's not punishment.
I'm not saying it needs to be punishment. It needs to be a teachable moment. And a big part of teaching is about forgiveness and allowing someone to move on. And I think that's, I don't know enough about Lasseter to be able to definitively say one way or another, which is not why I'm not taking too hard of a stance either way. But I feel like...
Yeah, we do live in an age where, there's often no redemption. There's I can see there is something there. I just think in this particular scenario, I just don't think if you're a shareholder in Skydance, I would not be. That would not be a company decision. If I was on the board or involved, I would not be endorsing that.
Business side of view, I think that's it's very risky.
So that's ultimately where I try and sort of come from it. There's a lot of different layers to this,
but I think it's terribly cynical to come at it from a business point of view. It's very almost kind of sad that's how we would make that decision. I don't know.
I guess just kind of the most clinical way.
Yeah.
And
ultimately, I think it's certainly something that I'm glad that people are talking about, and that it's front and center for a lot of people.
Yeah.
It'll be very interesting either way to see how Skydance kind of takes it from here, because they've really dug themselves a hole if God forbid Lasseter hasn't learned from his past indiscretions.
I think I'm very interested to follow this.
Yeah.
If they haven't, if all the ink hasn't dried on all the contracts, I wouldn't be surprised if this falls apart, honestly, after this week.
Yeah.
And my final word on it is just, I feel like there's got to be a lot of people out there who could do whatever his role is going to be in this company who aren't creeps.
Yes.
All right, next up, a 6 to 8 episode TV series starring Lady Sif, Jamie Alexander, is reportedly in the early stages of development for Disney+. So this is another MCU series, limited series, that is apparently potentially coming along.
And is that the Sif from the Thor movies?
From Thor, yeah.
Wow.
Sif and the Warriors 3.
But
no.
Jamie Alexander.
Oh, yeah. So pretty much the only remaining Thor character that's alive.
Oh, that's fantastic.
Yeah. So
cool.
Just quickly, this joins now the Vision and Scarlet Witch series, the Falcon and Winter Soldier series, and the Loki series. They're going nuts with these things.
Yeah. I'm far more excited for the Lady Sif than I am for Loki. I think we've talked about this before. I think that Loki's a bad choice to have a TV show about. But Lady Sif, I can very much see that being successful, particularly in the sense that I feel like
it could be more like Kingdom of Heaven.
Fits. What?
Go back.
It's a bizarre one.
The more like that's what I realized. The Connor scale. The more like Kingdom of Heaven the movie is, the better. The more you will like it.
Because we were talking about Aladdin, which is set in the Middle East.
I'm fucking with you, mate.
You're a real piece of shit there, George.
Sorry, I totally interrupted your thought there.
Yeah.
I think there'd be a lot more promise with this if fucking Ragnarok hadn't killed off all the other Thor characters. I think a Sif and the Warriors 3 series would be much more interesting. Sif has already made a TV appearance on Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D., weirdly enough. It was a very strange episode.
Really?
Yeah, it was very it was very early on when the MCU was maybe we can throw him a bone here and there. You can have Sam Jackson and Jamie Alexander for an episode. Yeah, I am curious where she's been, because she wasn't in Ragnarok at all.
She's been having a jaunt.
Yeah, jaunting about.
Yeah. Okay, day one, are you guys picking up Disney Plus?
Yeah.
Nope.
Yeah, me too.
I mean,
I'm beginning to get really concerned about, and I've voiced this before. I'm getting really concerned about how many different providers are of this kind of content are coming out, and it's going to. I think what originally
you have complete autonomy, Connor. You can hit that unsubscribe button. You don't have to.
Yeah, which means I
subscribe
can
to
just
them all.
not subscribe in the first place, should
Yeah.
I so choose.
Yeah.
Which is what I'm saying. I'm getting really well. I mean, it's one of those things where I'm worried about getting into the same position we were with cable, which was that you had to spend an enormous amount of money every month to get the content that you wanted. The brilliant thing about Netflix when it was coming out is that you could have access to all this content.
But it's only going to get more fragmented, bro. It's
That's
only
my
going to get
point.
more
That's a bad
diversified.
thing. That's not good for the
I
consumer.
think, but you know what? There's something I've forgotten what the name is. You might remember, Benny. There's a horror sort of
Shudder.
Shudder.
From
That's
Amazon.
launching. I am really excited.
Hell
and I'm
yes.
going to pick that up probably.
Yeah, my God, I will throw Netflix out the fucking window if I can get a streaming service just for horror movies that I can't find anywhere else.
I'll still
I will
pick up
not need
Netflix.
Netflix anymore.
I'll still pick up
which
Netflix.
which is great if you have a very specific or niche desire.
But I think
if
that's
you
what's so
want
cool
access
about
to,
it.
But this again, this is the problem that you're going to find is that as it becomes more fragmented and you have more providers come into the overall structure of it,
Yes.
either they will have to price down pretty significantly, which doesn't look like it's happening because Netflix is going to be bumping up its price. Disney Plus might.
Yeah,
I mean, like,
and then
this is not
Apple's
good.
coming out.
This is not good for consumers. By like no metric is this good for consumers. Unless you are very specific.
More variety, more
I
competition.
think you're looking at it
I'm
from a
into
very, very singular viewpoint that it's not good for consumers. It's
Yeah,
really
because
good.
I am a consumer and I would like.
No, but what about the choice? What about the amount of content that you have at your disposal?
That's very much my point.
Which is
'Cause
fantastic.
if you
so you
want
can
that
choose. I
kind
want
of-
the horror one. I want the premium DC A plus pricing
there is
one.
an
I'm gonna
enormous
go
amount
get
of
that.
content right now. Or what are you
Yeah, there
getting
is.
bored of net? Like, do you have more time than I think you have? Like,
I'm having a great.
We're not going to get that much more content.
Yeah. So how many are you going to end up picking up? You're going to pick up 1, 2, 3. You're not going to pick up 17.
But that's my point. As they become more fragmented, for example, if Disney starts pulling its content out of things like Stan and Netflix and making it only accessible from Disney Plus, then if I want to access that, I have to subscribe to another platform, which was previously I could get with maybe 1 or 2 platforms. I now
just
need
feel
to
like
get 3 to get the same.
I just feel like it's
and
kind
gonna
of
continue to move
redundant
like that.
because it's just IP. You know, it's
A knock at the door. Who could it be?
it's that's capitalism. You know, you own an IP, you sell the IP, you get the revenue. You know, Apple's getting into the
completely
space.
irrelevant to what we're talking about. We're
No,
talking
it's
about
not. You're
the
saying it's a
market
problem.
fragmenting.
You're
and that
saying
is
it's a
not good.
you're saying it's a problem that the market's fragmenting.
Yes.
I'm saying it's great because it allows that much more choice. You're saying it's bad from a
But
monetary
it doesn't.
viewpoint.
That's the problem. It
What?
doesn't allow more choice. Because what's going to happen?
So you're
is-
telling me? So you answer this then. This Shutter thing launching in Australia gives me less choice. Gives me less choice.
If you were well,
it doesn't make any sense. It doesn't make any sense what you're saying.
Ladies and gentlemen, it doesn't make sense.
Overall,
You're looking
not
at it
gonna
from a
get-
monetary
you're not-
viewpoint.
you're
I'm
not
looking
gonna
at it from.
get- but you have to look at it like that. So
No, you don't.
You're
You
not
can
going
look at
to
it from
get-
multiple levels.
So you will
gotta be
get
multidimensional.
on the periphery. You'll get a little bit more content overall, right? But you will have to subscribe to a much larger number of subscriptions to have only a little bit more content.
So why don't you go then by your metric of number of subscriptions? Why don't you go to one provider, Foxtel, and go get all your stuff? It's not about numbers, bro.
Yeah, there's no have to here.
Yeah.
But I mean,
so no, just quickly, just before we've seen what these actually are and what content they have, I know for myself that I would be perfectly happy having Shudder, Disney Plus, and maybe the DC thing. That's all I want to watch.
I'll have Netflix because
which is
Netflix
absolutely
is
fine.
actually making its own. Netflix was once streaming online, and now Netflix is like Netflix has their own content.
Yeah.
You know, if I want to go watch Bird Box, I go to Netflix. So for me, I think I'll definitely have Netflix. I'll probably have this Apple one with the A24 thing. I'll probably have what are we just talking about?
DC.
No, I went to
Shudder,
Disney.
Disney.
And probably Shudder.
But see, this is all right. So let's take this kind of a couple steps forward, where every producer of content has their own streaming service, which means that ultimately, in of itself, if they price themselves the way that they seem to be pricing themselves, that is ultimately for the same amount of content, a lot more expensive for the consumer.
That's unsustainable, though. I don't think the prices will stay where they are once we have that
because
many
we'll just
different
go back to the
competing
situation
services.
of people being able to afford the Foxtel, getting all the content, and we're back to the same situation that we were in before we had streaming.
No, I think it's very
maybe
different.
a little bit better, but like
I think
it's
it's
not
very
going to be
different.
Look, maybe I'll be proven wrong, and fantastic if I am. I don't want a worse
Steak dinner.
I'm not keen on having a worse customer experience. I'm just saying that as we dilute the market with more subscription services and you start taking content out of existing services so that you can charge direct from the producing entity, that doesn't help the consumer. Them taking everything off Stan, like Disney, taking everything off Stan and Netflix and saying, here, pay us directly. It doesn't take money out of my Netflix account. It doesn't, make my Netflix account cheaper. It just adds another subscription, which means I'm paying for the same shit that I already had.
I feel like...
Which is fucking bullshit.
From that perspective, I understand your point, but I feel like that is only one side of this argument. I think there's a lot more to it, which I think I've already highlighted.
Well, but what? What are we getting out of it? I mean,
I've already said choice.
We know
I've
that
already
Disney
said
can produce through Netflix or any other number of kind of production companies. There's no need for them to have their own streaming service.
Like getting rid of the middleman. I really like going direct. I love direct to consumer. Like that's just part of,
If overall it's cheaper, that or you're getting some advantage out of it.
Which is something that completely remains to be
this?
seen at this point. We don't have any pricing information on these things.
No, we don't.
Especially in a world where that many of them coexist. We have no idea.
But if it, logically speaking, Netflix isn't going to drop its price, so you are inevitably going to be paying more per month if you keep Netflix and go to Disney.
Do you get Fight Pass?
Yep.
Yeah, there you go.
But how? Wait, sorry, what?
There you go.
It's completely different.
Boom!
Number five. Number five. Number five.
Just so we're clear,
Yeah.
what are you
There you
actually
go.
On to the next story.
Do you like blue things?
hey.
Take that.
So, just to be clear, you guys keen for Lady Sif?
Yeah.
No.
We should move on, but we didn't actually talk about the story at all. This is 4 MCU series that they're working on, possibly. That's a lot.
Yeah.
Is the MCU about to crumble under its own weight?
Well,
it's changing.
Yeah.
It's changing a lot. So be prepared for a different MCU.
Maybe overall they're moving away from movies in general.
I think we're seeing a big shift in general away from movies.
Yeah.
If the Haunting of Hill House is anything that has like really become obvious to me, is that I think that's a game changer on a number of levels. So we got a few more news stories.
Hopefully less controversial.
Let's blast through these. Get to the trailers.
Aaron Sorkin says The Social Network should get a sequel.
I disagree. And here's why.
Oh, shit.
Here we go.
I feel like the beauty in The Social Network is not necessarily about the tech, but it's about the humans, the relationships, the betrayal.
Then the sequel should be right up your alley.
Well, I feel like the quote that Aaron Sorkin talks in his quote, he talks a lot about how much has happened with Facebook in terms of, and he's obviously talking about the Cambridge Analytica thing. He's talking about all kinds, Zuckerberg has been in the headlines over the past few years. I don't necessarily know if I want a commentary on the internet from the same, whatever the framework, whatever that was, you
the social
call that
network
in the social
is
network.
not about the technology or the internet, and that's very much, I think, what they could do with the next kind of development and stage of his life. I mean, like you could just do it on him, and peripherally reference Facebook, and that's an interesting story in and of itself. I mean, he is a fascinating individual, good, bad, or indifferent. I mean, he's fascinating.
If you read the Aaron Sorkin quote,
maybe not indifferent.
The genesis of the project, it seems to be, is all those things that had happened that I was just mentioning before, Cambridge Analytica, et cetera, et cetera.
Very much.
And
not
I don't
about
know
the
if that's
technology.
a good way to start that film. I don't know if that's a good place to come from, especially from the original. It's not about the tech; it's about the people. It's about the relationships.
Yeah, you could take the plot.
Yeah, it could have been steel. It could have been industrial age steel.
Exactly. Yeah.
But I mean, there's nothing to say
Completely,
that you can't do that in that second story. I mean, like, just use that as a backdrop and then tell the personal story. Like I said, it's not that I find interesting. Zuckerberg himself seems to be this wildly interesting person. I mean, you could make a movie about his, his inquiry in front of Congress or whatever he did.
If they made a movie about smoked meats, I would be their day fucking one.
I mean, like that alone. Yeah, I mean, he's a fucking like I said, interesting guy.
I don't agree with you. I just want this left alone, and I think it would become too. It would lose what that first one made it so brilliant. I feel.
Yeah, in general, I'm more or less like not sequel. Don't do it. That being said, if they got Fincher on board, if it was Fincher and Sorkin working together, they can do anything.
That is true,
and I'm sure it'd be great. But yeah, that first one is so complete as
it is a wonderful
so
kind of thing on its own,
and it ends so brilliantly that you really don't need to pick
and
up
I'd hate
again.
these to become little timestamps and like, next 10 years, we get another entry. I don't necessarily know if I want that from this.
Yeah, I just think that there is room to do something interesting. Like I agree. I would not
maybe even a
want it to
documentary, maybe of a different style.
No, but I wouldn't want it to be a direct sequel, but I would like I like the idea of there being a 10-year gap in between this one and the next one. So you're not really finding out what happens post. Like you don't reference anything that's happened in the first, but you very much say, kind of to what you said, here's a snapshot of him 10 years later. And
it could be interesting.
I just think that there is a story to tell there.
I just love that one so much. I wouldn't want it to be fucked up.
Yeah. I mean, that's completely valid.
Next up, Eddie Murphy has signed on for Coming to America 2.
McDowell's, baby.
Hell yeah. We've all seen Coming to America, I'm sure.
Yeah,
comedy classic.
Many times.
Yeah.
John Landis film. I love Arsenio Hall in that film.
Yeah, he's so
Like
good.
him so much.
So good.
In all his different iterations.
Yeah. The outfits in that movie are fantastic. Everyone knows that long belated comedy sequels are always fantastic.
Yep. Unanimously.
Yep. What was it? Dumb and Dumberer.
Anchorman
2.
And Eddie
Others.
Murphy, I feel like, is a very kind of contextual comedian in that, like, his comedy makes sense back then. He's done what, kids movies up until now?
Yeah, well, he did them for a while. He hasn't done anything.
In this decade, he hasn't done much.
Yeah.
It's just daddy daycare.
It's a bit kind of weird to think about him returning to that style of comedy. I mean, I read an interview with him a while back. This would probably almost be 10 years ago, about why he never went back to do stand-up comedy. And he said, I mean, can you imagine trying to perform under that kind of pressure? Like, I don't know if I have it again.
Do you want to follow that act?
Yeah, like, what do I do? Go back to the clubs and bomb a bunch of times? Like, you can't just, like, leave that kind of game and then jump back into it. And I wonder if it's the same with movies and that kind of style of comedy that he did. I mean, it's just, I don't know.
I think leave this one once again. Leave it. This doesn't make me excited.
Yeah, it would feel horribly contrived. It would be called Coming Back to America, and they'd just have to figure out some reason for him to come and work at a McDowell's or some bullshit. Leave
I've always wanted a McDowell's though. I've always it's like I know I'll never get one. So
Sam Jackson's first film role.
For real?
As the robber in the McDowell's.
Okay.
Yeah, so funny. He's like 50 years old.
It's like that SpongeBob SquarePants. Like what is it, the McPatty or what's the burger?
The Krabby Patty.
Krabby Patty. I've always wanted a Krabby Patty.
Even though it would be the most horrible.
I mean, like, obviously
they're cooked at the bottom of the ocean.
Yeah.
But cartoon food looks good. All right, and finally, the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles reboot that we've touched on a couple times. They've said that the production could start at the end of this year. That's all.
Silence.
I guess it's just confirmation that it's happening. It's happening soon, and it is a complete reboot, which I'm all for. I love the iterative nature of Ninja Turtles. Just keep changing it
I'm
up.
actually kind of
right.
keen to see was it the most recent animated one?
Oh my god, it is so fucking good.
The only reason
Ben Schwartz.
Literally. And because I took your advice and I started listening to If I Were You, which is a podcast with Jake and Amir. And I went back and I found the ones with the most recent one with Ben Schwartz, which is fucking hilarious. And
He's
he just
unbelievable.
plugs all of his, like all the things that he's been doing lately.
Yeah.
And that was one of them. He keeps mentioning that he voiced, was it Leonardo?
Yeah,
Yeah.
he's amazing in it too.
So I kind of want to check that out, actually.
I'll take any chance I can to try and recommend that show to someone because it's so good. Ninja Turtles, I'm talking about the new Ninja Turtles. He's so good. The animation is just next level. So please, somebody watch Ninja Turtles with me. Oh,
I love it when you get like to that begging stage of like, please, someone, just do it.
it's their fault, man. The franchise is still alive. It shouldn't be. It was meant to die 20 years ago. What time is it?
It's trailer time. Let's get into it, Connor.
Oh, that's me, isn't it? Right. Well, first of all, Game of Thrones season 8 teaser trailer is coming out, and we've got a release date to go along with it, which is April 14th. It's not far off.
George, thoughts?
Bing, 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 bing. I quite liked how this was put together because it was very much sort of a scene. You wasn't sort of like, remember this character and this is going to, this person was left in peril at this stage. And, somebody
Last
who's
time
not
on
really,
Game of Thrones.
it wasn't like that kind of trailer.
It's like a little specifically crafted.
Yes, I
piece
appreciated that. I wonder if it's going to end up in the show or it's more metaphorical. Who's
Definitely
to say?
metaphorical.
I dug it. It doesn't make me want to watch this show.
Connor, are you still going to try your tact of not watching any
No.
episodes until they're all out?
No, I think this is the first time that I will not attempt that.
Okay, good. I didn't know what you meant there. Yeah, fuck.
Because, and there's a very specific reason for this. The way that the shows seem to be structured is a lot different than in previous seasons. They've said that they will be very much kind of like movies unto themselves, a lot longer. I don't know if I'll be able to fit it in a day, and if I wasn't able to fit it in a day, I'd feel like it's kind of all for naught anyways. I don't know. I feel like
Watch it as you go.
yeah, I might attempt to watch it as I go. And I feel like for the first time ever, I want to be up to date with it. I never felt that pressure before.
Got to be part of the conversation, mate.
Yeah. Well, maybe not for that reason. Just that I think that people will not have any qualms about spoiling this one. And I came with some very close calls last season, and I don't want to try my luck again.
I can't believe you've made it, man. I would just I would be near someone else's phone and I'd see a meme from 40 minutes ago from the episode.
So good at like picking shit out of Facebook. Like as soon as I'd see something that looks like Game of Thrones, I'd look away. Like I'd physically jerk my neck so that I wouldn't look at whatever was ever there. I got very good at it. I'd tell everyone that I knew that you just don't talk about it when I'm around, all that kind of stuff. So, I mean, I could probably do it, but I don't know. For the first time ever, I don't feel like I need to do it with this season.
You guys vibing this?
Quick yes or no? Yeah. Do you think they're going to stick the landing?
I kind of do. I mean, I've never.
Do you think in the eyes of the world they will stick?
No.
What do you think they're going to do? Because I've heard an interesting theory on what they're going to do.
Oh,
Like more thematically as opposed to specific characters.
everyone dies.
Well, I think supposedly, you correct me if I'm wrong, but this whole show is about the major theme is sort of bloodline does not dictate your ability or
It's about
your
zombies?
ability. Sorry?
Is that zombies, George? Is that ice zombies?
Game of Zombies. And they've kept that as a theme, and they'll have to subvert that in some way. Subverting the subversion.
You are like your blood, or you are your family.
Well, and nobody can be the top of the food chain kind of thing.
Oh.
I'm not sure. Like this is purely something I heard on a podcast
After watching 6 episodes of the first season.
Yeah.
No. 11 or however many there are.
I think there's 10 in this.
I think
10. I watched 10.
Oh, you watched the whole thing? Cool.
No, I watched 10 plus maybe 3 or 4 of season 2.
Yeah, I think that they will.
Thank you.
I don't want them to try too hard to do a big ending. I think that's their number one risk.
Well,
or not necessarily a big ending. Sorry, it's going to be big, but I don't want them to get too convoluted. I don't want it to be an M. Night Shyamalan kind of one. And they've already really done that with the last season. They had a big reveal. I think that's probably just about as far as that reveal should go, or in terms of just like that person's that person type thing.
Is this show getting better or worse? Season 1 to whatever, season 7?
It's changing. It's getting bigger and more blockbustery and probably stupider. I probably enjoy how it was initially when it was more just political intrigue and less giant dragon action. and
I don't
zombie
know.
hordes.
I think that it would kind of get boring if it was doing the same thing. I mean, like I think it's one of those things where the grass is always greener. That if it had just remained that style of political intrigue,
Should have evolved.
I'm not saying that. I'm just saying I
Yeah.
preferred what it was. Than what it is.
and that's fine. I think I'm kind of one of the few ones that have really just thoroughly enjoyed Game of Thrones.
Oh, it's a good one.
consistently throughout its seasons.
I'm the same. I'm so not invested. I have too little memory of what's come before to give a shit about what's happening now. I'm gonna have to read like a Wikipedia article before the next season happens.
Well, I plan on at least trying to get from season 3 onwards.
Wow.
I was just saying I've been consistent throughout the entire seasons. I think a lot of people have dropped off, and kind of said this isn't a good season. I've never had that.
Anyway, stay tuned. We'll have the weekly coverage when the show comes back on. Yeah.
I'm just gonna start watching it from season 8.
Do it. Yeah. So watch the final season.
Ballsiest thing I've ever heard in
Look
my
at this
entire
guy.
life.
Connor's mind is just like.
The vein. I don't know if the camera's picking up the vein.
Because
or
Ash
anything.
has watched all 7 seasons, so she's gonna watch it.
You wouldn't.
cool.
I'm just telling you now. You won't be able to do it. It will make no sense.
Cool.
I think the story is streamlined and simplified enough now that you could probably pick up where you're at. Like they've cut off so much extraneous stuff.
Yeah.
Like so many plot lines have finished up already.
Next
I
trailer.
suppose. Yeah. Velvet Buzzsaw.
Well, I'm very excited for.
What the fuck?
I only watched Nightcrawler a couple of months ago. Really, really excited to see the director, writer of that teaming up with Jake Gyllenhaal. This trailer, the back half of it, I did not expect.
Yeah. How wonderful was that when it just turned super
the
dark?
horror element.
I can't save you.
Yeah,
it looks like
Love that thing.
It's got a really 90s-ism kind of coming through. I'm not sure why. Maybe it's the soundtrack choice and the costumes and the fashion.
Yeah. And I love Jake Gyllenhaal. I think he's so fucking talented.
He knows what the fuck is up, man. He knows how to choose roles.
He's always swinging for the fences for his performances too.
So, yeah, I think this is just fantastic. And I think it's really hard to sort of comment on this trailer, and it's sort of hard to know what the end product's going to be.
It's Netflix though, so it's already on Netflix, like the little coming soon
February,
type
right?
thing. Yeah, so we'll be able to check that out very soon.
Win.
Do a review of that one. Yeah.
Fucking hell, Netflix. They're killing it. I'm so impressed with them.
Well, I
We'll
mean,
see.
you don't have to subscribe if you don't want to.
You make the weirdest callbacks. I don't understand.
It's not a callback. It's a little reference. It's a little
you
loop.
like semantics from me?
little
You
loops.
son of a bitch. Next, we've got another Netflix series, possibly one of the last, if not the last, in the Marvel Netflix series. It's Punisher Season 2.
I thought we were talking about Russian doll already. I was like, what? Did I miss a big part of this?
This guy
yeah.
is just watching this trailer. It's like this guy is such good casting.
Bernthal's
For
amazing.
Frank Castle. You're not going to get a better Punisher. I do not believe. Not one.
Yeah, I agree.
Dolph Lundgren was pretty good in the 80s.
That was the 80s, mate.
I've always been really impressed with him. Particularly in things like Fury. I thought he was really good. Yeah, I think
And Baby Driver, he was good in that as well.
He was, wasn't he?
Yeah.
Look, this is, I think Punisher kind of almost came from left field and impressed a lot of people with season 1. I think it's kind of either on the top or in the top 3 of a lot of people's lists in terms of that universe.
Very far removed from
Yeah,
even the Netflix stuff.
very much. Looks very bloody. And this is the criticism that we've all kind of had of it, is that Jigsaw, who was teased in the first season as having a fucking killer look, seems to have just reverted back to a handsome man.
I'm just not going to be able to take this show seriously one iota if he's got like, look at the monster you turned me into or something. I'm like, you just look like Ben Barnes, mate.
It
I wish he'd
seems
been
like
hacked up, man.
yeah, it seems like such
He's
a
meant to be.
a
Like
cowardly move.
skin flapping across his face as he's talking.
Right. Well, that's distracting. No, I just think it's such a, I can't think of a better word, but it's a cowardly move for them to be like, no, we can't have an attractive or an unattractive person as the antagonist.
It's weird.
And
because
odd for the Netflix. It's been so over the top
never
so
pull
far.
punches. Like
Yeah.
Vincent D'Onofrio, head in the door.
Taking
There's
heads,
some really gruesome stuff in this show.
Punisher in that prison fight, he like takes someone's eyes out with his thumbs.
Yeah. And then they make him look pretty. It's like that doesn't make any
bad
sense.
decision, I feel.
Yeah.
But
Very strange.
I'm excited for this.
I'll be watching this for his performance pretty much alone. I'm very over the Marvel Netflix stuff. I haven't even watched Daredevil.
Yeah, same.
I think it's. Did you end up watching Iron Fist?
No, I never got past that first 20 minutes that I stopped
I
at.
genuinely think you should get into it, man.
I can't do it. They're all so
just
bad.
fucking
Even the
do
good
it.
ones just look bad to me now.
Yeah,
It's weird how
Completely
much
soured.
it's soured, but I genuinely think that their run of season 2s and even the season 3 for Daredevil really impressed me. When I went back and I did the rewatch and went from Jessica Jones season 2 onwards, or Luke Cage, I can't remember which one came first. Yeah, just genuinely impressed from pretty much everything Defenders onwards. I don't know. I think it's worth giving it a shot. Finally, we have. Is this a Netflix one as well?
Yes.
Jesus. Russian Doll.
Another one of these sort of Groundhog Day.
Groundhog Day.
I feel like this one's maybe not bringing enough to the table to make it different enough. However, I did like the comedic timing in this because I did get a few laughs.
I like the comedic timing. I also liked the fact that this seems to delve in a little bit more into the kind of the mental strain that this would obviously put on you. It seems as though a lot of these don't really. I don't think they kind of explore that aspect very much. I mean, there's only so many aspects you can explore with these now. But
Bill Murray was pretty chill about the whole affair.
He was. I mean, there's that very dark part where he just tries to kill himself a bunch of times. But apart from that, I think that like I said, there just really hasn't been an exploration about how taxing that would be on your mind. And this one seems to have her just being like, am I fucking going insane?
Yeah, the really intense, like, just kind of back third of this trailer was kind of where it grabbed my interest.
Yeah.
Oh, I really have no desire to watch this though.
Same.
All right, let's cap things off with question of the week. What is your current ranking of the DCEU? So we've got 6 movies here. Man of Steel, Batman v Superman, Dawn of Justice, Suicide Squad, Wonder Woman, Justice League, and Aquaman. Isn't it crazy? Just first up, when I went to Wikipedia and looked at the list, Man of Steel 2013. Next one was Batman v Superman, Dawn of Justice 2016. So we've had these films in very quick succession. Like and it sort of goes back to what Warner Brothers have tried to do with this whole series is they try to jumpstart it. Anyway, let's do what I was thinking is us go top to bottom because I think
So our best first.
I think so.
How are we going to do this?
'Cause I
Okay,
think, you know,
Well, all right, George, why don't you just
I'll
start
just
with
do
your
my
number
top
one?
3. I'll do my top 3.
No, just do your top one. We can go around real quick.
Let's do the whole list each.
I'll
Okay,
just
yeah,
go
let's
through.
say everything, yeah.
Yeah, let's
All
do that.
Top 1 for me is Aquaman, Wonder Woman, Man of Steel, Batman v Superman, Suicide Squad, and lowest one is Justice League.
Yeah, we're all going to have a very interesting list here, I think. So mine is I don't want to have to defend this, what I'm about to say.
I don't want to defend mine either, by the way.
This is what it is right now. Man of Steel, Batman v Superman, the 3-hour version, the extended one. I found that one weirdly interesting. Aquaman, Suicide Squad, Wonder Woman, and Justice League. Justice League is the most horrendous thing I've ever seen.
You are going to have to defend this a little bit.
No, what did I just said? I'm not going to.
Wait. Wonder Woman and then Suicide Squad or Suicide Squad?
Suicide Squad first.
Nice. That's a doozy.
Suicide Squad is garbage. Wonder Woman's better, but I don't know. Whatever criteria we're measuring this list by, I prefer Suicide Squad in this moment.
Interesting.
I'd watch that again first, just for the sheer insanity of it.
Mine also has Man of Steel at the top.
You Man of Steel pussies. You guys, honestly,
it is a better film.
Go put that on. And yeah, okay, maybe sophistication, cinematography. It's beautiful. But honestly, go watch that. It's bored. You'll be bored to tears.
Yes, but you are particularly susceptible to not being able to stay awake.
I would like for us to
keep saying it. Let's do it, George. Let's do it.
Let's fucking do it.
I'm not afraid. That's my number one fucking DCEU movie.
Yeah, fuck yeah. I'm bringing it down.
And fuck it. I'll sit through the entire thing just so I can watch that first 20 minutes again. fuck it. I don't even care.
Just before we carry on, I just want to qualify that I hate all of these movies to one degree or another.
Yeah. I'm pretty much there with you. So yeah, Man of Steel was first. Aquaman comes in second. Wonder Woman comes in third. Those are the only three that I think could possibly be contrived as good films. I mean, they're not, but you know what I mean. And then followed by the shit list, which again could be in any order. But I had it as BVS, Suicide Squad, and then Justice League.
Same.
I was trying to figure out which one I wanted to put in the number 4 spot, BVS or Suicide Squad. That was the tougher one for me. Just figuring out which one was. I think BVS was probably.
I might even like that more than Man of Steel. You know, the 3-hour one.
BVS.
Yeah, I might. I've got a vendetta against Man of Steel.
I'm glad we're agreed on Justice League because I feel like that one blindsided us a little when it first came out, just with how bizarrely terrible it was.
Yeah.
That people were like, "Is this a step in the right direction or not?" But yeah, I think that's one of the greatest train wrecks ever to hit the
There was
screen.
nothing more kind of that spoke to me more than that beginning scene where the guy that holds it or has the sign saying "I tried," and I just see that as Joss Whedon being like, "Oh, sorry, this is happening."
Oh well.
Well,
Tell us your ranking, folks.
yeah.
There's
Hit us
no
up.
wrong answer.
Hit us up in the comments on YouTube.
There's no right answer either.
or
That is
Facebook.
very true.
No, there is a right answer.
No, they're genuinely
Aquaman at the top. What brought in the most money? What brought in the most money equals the best film.
Fuck,
Aquaman.
he's got us there. He's got us there.
So
Fair enough.
Capitalism,
you have to, like,
baby.
follow that all the
Where's
way down in the
green? Where's
rankings.
the paper?
You have to follow that all the way down in the rankings. You know that, right?
Yes.
I will do that.
Guys, go check out our How to Train Your Dragon The Hidden World review, which is up right about now. And we'll be back next week for some more antics. It's going to be fantastic. And I think we'll have a little bit of review for Glass as well, which I am terribly, terribly excited for. We'll be back next week with the boy Connor.
Bye.
And Benny.
Aquaman.
Everyone ready?
Aquaman.
Everyone ready?
Yeah.
I love you.
Me or Aquaman? So ambiguous.
Just shake it out.
Okay. I just like to remember.
Looks so scary without hair.
It's just a jerking movement.
Look like fucking James McAvoy from Split.
All right, let's get on with it.
Yeah.
Jesus Christ.